It's Monday again, and it's a holiday since we're all stuck at home. But this might be the last week of modified, what did I call it? ECQ, and by next Monday we'll start GCQ. Though for the past 2 weeks we've opened our home office already, skeletal team and voluntary. Doing all the necessary precautions, of course, social distancing, mask, alcohol, and all that. So, and this week it's still open, and we have our online new evangelization conference. I hope you're all registered. It starts tonight, 8 o'clock, the first session, and then every day until Saturday. I was just looking at the verse that they used. Of course, they used the Tagalog verse, but I'll use the English one from Luke 24, verse 32. Then they said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he spoke to us on the way and opened the scriptures to us?" So, just some reflections as I am really excited for this online NEC. I've been part of the NEC ever since it started like 7, 8 years ago, and this is the first time it's going to be completely online, of course, obviously. Just go through the verse. So, Luke 24, verse 32, they. The first word, first second word, then they, companionship. It's all about companionship. The two walking, we're not alone. And here, as we do our mission, we cannot do this mission alone. We have to be with people. It's too difficult to do it alone. And being part of MFC, Missionary Families of Christ, we are not alone. And we gain strength from one another, and we bounce off ideas from one another. We get inspired by one another. We are not alone, and we cannot do this mission alone. And then the next after that, it's they said to each other. So it's always about conversation and connection. It's not, we shouldn't just get locked in our heads, or else we'll get burdened. There's so many things going on around, and we might get burdened, and we might get depressed if we don't release these things that are stuck in our minds and our hearts. So it's good to converse with someone, to really form connections with other people who are also at the same journey as us. Our hearts, we're not our hearts burning within us. So this mission, that conversation, this community, we've found the pearl of great price. It's our life's mission. It's the answer to our yearning. So sometimes we have this like emptiness inside, but once for me personally, once I realized how precious this gift of community is, it really answers a yearning in our hearts to really get to know Christ even more, get to know God even more, and we need to share that to other people. Were not our hearts burning within us while He spoke to us? So how does God speak to us? But if not through prayer time, worship, building up a relationship with Him. You have no relationship with other people if you don't speak to them, if it's just in your head, or if you just assume they know you. But just like God, we need to speak to Him as well and cultivate that relationship. He spoke to us on the way. It's a continuing mission. It's not just I receive, I feel so happy, and that's it. It's a journey. Yeah, we continue to move forward and open the scriptures to us. We have to keep on studying. Ignorance of scriptures is ignorance of Christ, and unfortunately a lot of us don't read the Bible and don't open the Bible. So we need to work on that. And just moving up to some verses before that, this won't take long. So in verse 19, he said, and it says, "And He replied to them, what sort of things?" They said to Him, "The things that happened to Jesus the Nazarene, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people." So when people ask you, what sort of things are happening in your life, be ready with an answer. Be ready to speak up about your faith. Whether you have, in our household, yesterday, our household head, Kokoy, shout out Kokoy, said that you should be ready, no matter if you have an hour, 30 minutes, 2 minutes, you should be ready to speak up about your faith and what you believe in. In verse 25, "And He said to them, oh, how foolish you are, how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets spoke." He was already with them. Jesus was already with them. They believed, but when He was gone, they did not decide to live it out. They were so afraid. And maybe that's also what sometimes we experience, especially now. We're stuck in our homes for 2 months. We don't know what will happen. And maybe we're afraid, but we know that God is in control, and we know that He is the one who will get us through all of this and really empower us to go forth. And in verse 29 it says, "But they urged him, 'Stay with us, for it is nearly evening and the day is almost over.' So he went in to stay with them." So when you have an opportunity, take it. So Jesus was supposed to move forward, leave them behind, but they said, "No, we're learning so much from you." And maybe there are some opportunities that come in our way as well that we shouldn't let go. We should take every opportunity. And so that's just a short reflection. So be ready to speak up your faith. Know that God is in control. And when you have opportunities, take it, which leads us to the verse of the NEC, of companionship, connection, knowing that this is the answer to the yearning in our hearts, but also building up that relationship with God. And once you build up that relationship through prayer time and study, is continuing the mission that He sent us. And that leads into the verse right after the NEC verse. "So they set out at once and returned to Jerusalem, where they found gathered together the 11 and those with them." They moved at once. And this week, though we cannot move at once, we're still stuck in our homes. But hopefully after Pentecost, it's a great timing that Pentecost is the end of the modified ECQ. Well, as of now, hopefully, and into GCQ, so we get empowered by the Holy Spirit, and then we move forward. We move at once, empowered by the Spirit through Pentecost, after being stuck in our homes for 2 months, maybe scared and afraid of what comes next. But we are expectant for this weekend. During this week, let us make our hearts burning, and let us be excited for what follows. Even the dogs here are excited. So just a short reflection on the NEC, and hope to see you at all the activities this week. God bless.